Hey, this is Darren. I'm just at Saranac. It's August 20th. I'm just kind of stealing away some time before we have our banquet dinner tonight, and just found a nice spot in the woods. I'm just blown away. I just wanted to kind of give an update. Have 3 guys in our dorm, or in our cabin, with me and Rube that gave their lives to Christ this morning. And it was at the cardboard Testimonies, and that's when all the leaders, they write on one side of the cardboard how they used to be, before they met Christ, and then they flip it over and they show, maybe 1 or 2 things that God, did in them, that changed that all around. And it gives an incredible visual, if you've never seen it, unbelievable visual of the gospel. So a couple of our guys were just really moved by that, and this kid Drew came to Christ, right then, and Garrett was really moved by it. Nelson was really moved by it, and what was really neat is just to see how they identify, with the particular person or cardboard, or statement, testimony, or whatever. Nelson and Garrett don't have great father figures, and Nelson's dad actually is in jail, and has a drug problem. So Nelson in particular, has not felt like Dad, has been there, because he is not. So this young lady stands up there, and her testimony was, something to the effect of, never loved by my father. And then she flipped it over, and it said completely loved by God. Both of those guys immediately, Nelson and Garrett immediately burst into tears and just buried their heads, in one another's shoulders. Really, really awesome. And, I was 10 feet behind them, so I could see what was going on, and I just sat and prayed for them. Afterwards, there were just tears for a long time. And people started huddling around Drew, and he was really moved. Also, for him, it was just being accepted by God, fully accepted by God. I think one of the testimonies said, now I am free to be who I was meant to be. And he was really, really moved by that. So we gathered around Drew, and he told us that, that he gave his life to Christ, and we huddled around him, and we were praying for him, and it was such a beautiful, beautiful moment. Probably maybe 10 or 12 of us were all huddled around him. Unbeknownst to me, this kid Lewis grabs the camera, and he starts taking pictures, and he puts he gets a beautiful picture of all of us hovered around Drew, and puts this cardboard, one of the testimonies, right in front of it, and and it said, free in Christ, and so then he starts taking other pictures, and everybody else left, and he's starting to take pictures of cardboards, and Nelson and Garrett were so moved by that one cardboard that they wanted to go back and find it, and so they did. They found that one, never loved by my father, completely loved by God. They found it, and they took pictures of themselves, still with tears streaming down their face, of both sides, and they held it together, and took both pictures, never loved by my father, flipped it over, completely loved by God. The second one had such joy. Their faces were still tear-stained, but there was joy in the midst of those tears. I absolutely lost it. I had not seen that picture yet. Everybody left. It was really a moving thing. And Lewis said, we were the only 2 left in the club room, and he goes, "Hey Darren, check out these pictures." And I'm scrolling through, and I'm like, "Lewis, those are great, man. Wow, those are really, how cool." And I get to the one with Nelson and Garrett holding that sign, and I absolutely lost it. I guess just, 5 months of investing, praying and investing and pursuing Garrett, and then just being a daddy myself. I just so longed for Nelson and Garrett to feel that love of God, and I've prayed that they would feel it through me. That when they finally did, when I saw it, just the visible evidence, them holding a sign that said, loved completely by God, I lost it. So Lewis left, and I just sat down. I was the last person in the club room. I just sat down, and I bawled my eyes out, almost uncontrollably. I had to cover my face. I just felt, I just couldn't control it. So after about 5 minutes, for some reason, those guys came back. And Kyle sat to my right, my buddy Kyle, and Garrett and Nelson. They all sat down. And we started talking, and Garrett goes, you know what, Darren, I don't think I've officially given my life to Christ. And he goes, and I'm ready. I said, well, give me your hand, man. Let's do this thing. And I didn't even walk him through it. He just prayed, and it was beautiful. And we all cried together, all of us. Kyle cried, Nelson cried, Garrett cried, I cried, and then the best part about it, well, I mean, not the best part, but it was a great note to end off on. Garrett says, you know what? I've been praying for a long time that God would give me a sign. And he goes, look, he gave me a sign, literally. And he's holding this thing that says completely loved by God. He said, God gave me a sign. We all chuckled, but kind of cried more. Because God pretty much literally gave him a sign. And after that, he made it his goal this afternoon to find that leader that wrote that and to give her a hug. God's moving.